we'll move on to the Gold Cup on Friday, lads, if we can. And as I said, after this, we might go back over a couple of the other feature races on each of the days. But it's 30 years since Don Run won the Gold Cup. Willie pointed out during the week, Ted, that Jack Adams had the exact same prep runs as Don Run did 30 years ago, including the fall the last day at Cheltenham. So it's just interesting. I think 2 races each. What do you make of Jack Adams' chances?
I think he has a great chance. Second last year in the Gold Cup. My only slight worry with Jack Adams is if you watch him jump, he gets quite high behind. He fell with Ruby in Cheltenham, got in deep and got up and couldn't get his landing gear out in time. He fell coming down the hill with Paul Townend 2 years ago as a novice.
Yeah.
He fell at the last in a hurl race in Torres when he looked the winner. Big lep again, up high behind and arse over tip and on the ground again. I'd just be a little worried with that. He's been on the floor 3 times. He's a very good horse. He ran a cracker last year. He was a very good winner of the John Dorkin at Punchestown. He's a serious contender and I think he'd be hard to beat. But I just would have that little proviso in if I was having a big bet on him.
Can I ask you what you think Ruby's going to do? I mean, is it looking pretty certain that he will choose Vautour for the Gold Cup? Would that be your understanding of it?
I don't know. I'd say he'd be led and said by the lads. They'll all have to work over the next couple of days. At the moment, he's a big Vautour fan. Why wouldn't he be? We'd all be. But I mean, he could sway. He could go Jack Adam either. I don't really know at the moment.
Okay, so I mean, the question that a lot of people want to know is, I mean, do you think that Vautour stays the 3 mile for the Gold Cup, the 3 miles too, that he's going to need to get up that hill?
I don't think Vautour didn't stay at Kempton. I think he got beat by a horse that rallied better from the back of the last. I mean, there's no guarantee that Gordon's horse wouldn't have beat the 2 of them. Might have beat
Don Cossack
if he stood up.
Yeah.
But if Vautour fell at the second last, we all would have said how unlucky he was, and he got beat. For my reason, I don't think he's been as good this year as he was last year. He struggled to beat Paul Nichols's horse at Ascot, which he should have ate. I know he wasn't tuned up for it, and he travelled well at Kempton and didn't win. And yet when he went by the line, he galloped out. In the last 100 yards, for some reason, he just didn't seem to be up down to one place. But yet, when the pedal was taken off him, he just ran around the bend. If he was a non-stayer, he'd have been pulled up in 2 strides. But he wasn't. I just don't think we've seen the Vautour this year that we saw last year yet.
And is that a worry then? I mean, can he get back?
Yeah, I don't know that now. I mean, if anybody can get it back to him, Willie Mullins can get it back to him. I don't know what Gordon thinks now. Gordon would have a sharper eye. But
do you think he stays, Gordon?
I have a doubt about myself, to be honest. I think he's the classiest horse in the race, and if he stayed, he is the best horse in the race for me. You know what he's done previously, but I think Jack Adam is the horse I'm most worried about. He's been there, been second. You know, as
Ted, he's only 6 years of age last year.
Yeah, he has. But listen, the only thing I suppose he had a hard race last year, but I thought he was very good in the John Dorkin. But jumping is a worry. Listen, Don Cossack's they've all been on the ground, so it's going to be a good race. But for me, listen, obviously I hope Don Cossack wins, but Jack Adam is the horse I'm most fearing. I'd be very surprised if Ruby doesn't ride him.
I want to come back to Don Cossack in just a second, but Leon, I mean, look, Vautour cost me an awful lot of dignity on December the 27th when I had to dress up in women's clothes to go to Leopardstown.
You looked well.
And Liam will tell you, thanks Ted, he really got killed. I mean, look, question marks over Vautour on Kempton, the flat track that we know versus coming up that hill with the extra couple of furlongs as well. I mean, what's your own view on this one? Would you be happy to take Vautour on in the Gold Cup?
Well, I mean, look, he's 11-2. It's a great betting race in terms of the Gold Cup. 7-2 the field. Now a few quid came for Gordon's horse today. 7-2 from fours. But when you look at Vautour, I thought he was the best performer 12 months ago at the festival. He seems to excel at Cheltenham. I don't know, is he better going left-handed than he is right-handed? Maybe he is. But Don Cossack is the highest rated chaser out there. He was upsides at the second last at Kempton. He came down. Who knows what would have happened? I think good ground is the key to Don Cossack. If it's good ground on the Friday, I think he'll take some beating. If it comes up soft, I'd be in the jacket of camp because I think he likes a bit of give. I remember him winning the race. Yeah, Gordon Park
that was bottom. He was top weight as well, not?
He was, and the Gold Cup last year was soft, and he ran a blinder. He ran all the way to the line. So, look, it's a cracking Gold Cup. Don Poley's been there twice. He's won twice. He's won an RSA. He's won a Martin Pipe. This is a great race. It's just a pity Coney Gree is not there as well, because looking down through the field, it's a cracking Gold Cup. My own preference is Don Cossack. I hope it's good ground, and I think he'll win.
Johnny, who would you be on if I gave you a free one?
Don Classic, because Gordon's sitting here.
He's within striking distance. Yeah, okay. I mean, we just don't know obviously what would have happened at Kempton over Christmas, because he came down. He just never seemed to get into the race. I'm going to ask Gordon now in detail about that. But you fancy him out of everyone in that field?
Yeah, I would. Look, he's been knocked this year because he's been, people say, sluggish in his races, but like, you can't really beat what's put in front of you. He's winning the Punches on Gold Cup just sticks out last year, the way he galloped from the bend to the line. It was mighty impressive that day. I suppose his record at Cheltenham would put a little doubt in their mind, but I just think the way he operated that day, like he beat Jack and he beat Hugh Cahill. Like the way he operated that day, if he brought that game to the Gold Cup on Friday, he definitely sets the standard.
Okay, Gordon, Don Cossack, I mean, he's a huge fan's favourite here. How is he, first of all?
He's in great form, very happy with him, he's flying, so he is. Ground is the whole thing though, the better the ground, the better chance he has.
Okay, cheap pieces?
To be honest, the way he walked around Leopardstown last week, travelled and jumped, I'm leaning more towards not putting them on him. He, the one thing you can't do in that race is be too keen, and in his early days he was actually a keen enough horse, but he's gone more settled now, which maybe he's getting knocked for a bit, but all he can do is keep winning. He's got bet twice in the last 2 seasons. That was the Ryanair chase last year where he got no run through the race, and he fell in the King George. So
yeah.
I mean, if he'd won the King George, he's only been beaten once in the last 2 years, but he fell, he didn't win. But he's in good form. Ground is the thing. I think if the ground comes up, if there's good in the ground,
and by all accounts it will be. I mean, they're going to have dry weather between now and then.
You never know when the weather's going to go. I mean, last year we were over, we thought it was going to be okay, and it spilled rain, so it is for the Friday.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at Don Cossack the second half of the season for the last couple of years, Aintree and Punchestown last year, he was awesome, and I think if the ground and he turns up in that sort of nick at all, he's got a serious chance. I mean,
look, the rumours are flying that Brian Cooper obviously has a decision to make between him and Don Poley. Does it look like that he might go for Don Poley or Don Cossack? Have you any indication which way it'll play out?
To be honest, I haven't a clue. He comes into me 3 days a week, and every day he comes in, he gives you a different answer.
Right.
So
if he doesn't ride on it, will it be Davy Russell?
To be honest, if he doesn't ride him, there's plenty of lads there to ride him. Davy Russell rode him the last day, so I'd imagine he might ride him with Barry Garrett, Richard Johnson.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of good jockeys. Johnny Burke.
I
was just going to say. I was just going to say. And Johnny Burke as well. But you're there, though. You're there. Listen. The jockey won't be worried. There's plenty of good jockeys here to ride him.
Yeah. Okay. Liam, what's your reading on this race? I'm going to say right now that if Hugh Card wins the race, I won't make that mistake yet. Okay, let's just deal with Hugh Card then, because maybe I've been a bit harsh on him. He seems to be a completely different horse than even last year. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think the single best bit of form is the King George. Whether you go along with sectional timings and all that, I don't know, but time forms, sectional timings for the King George showed it to be an exceptional race, and Q-Card came out on top, and he's been knocked, and I've seen in umpteen places that he's not going to stay, but the single most consistent chaser throughout this season has been Q-Card. I think he'll go off higher than that on the day. I think he'll go off 6-7 to 1 anyway, and I think he's in each way betting the race. Now, if I had to back outside him, Don Cossack looked an absolute $1 million at Leopardstown the other day, and he looked great, and I think he's a really classy horse. The Vautour question, I don't know whether he's able to stay or not. I haven't a clue about that. He's a classy horse, so it's a really good Gold Cup. To be honest with you, there are 4 or 5 horses within 3 points. How you'd be going away putting hundreds on this race, I don't know. This is a race to watch, I think. But if I was forced, I'd say Q-Card each way.
Okay, Ted, I mean, Don Poley is another horse that we haven't mentioned a huge amount, but he only seems to just do enough, according to Willie. I mean, as you said, his record at Cheltenham is unbelievable. Would you be a fan of his?
Yeah, he's guaranteed to stay. And the one thing about the Gold Cup, anybody who ever rode in it or anything to do with it, you have to stay. 3 miles won't do you, 3 miles 1 won't do you. You've got to get every inch of 3 1/4, and he's guaranteed to do that. I think the horse that will get an easy enough race in it for a long way is Mad Place.
Yeah.
Because there isn't another front runner in it. He'll jump out, he'll bowl along. I mean, Gordon's horse won't be making it. Don Poley won't be making it. Vatour won't make it. Jack Adam won't make it. Road to Riches might end up running in the Ryanair. He forces it a bit. Q Card won't make it. So Smart Place could get a solo in front for a long ways. He's guaranteed to stay as well. He won around there, and he won the Hennessy over 3 1/4. As the lads say, it's a cracking Gold Cup. For me, who doesn't have an odd bet, I'm looking forward to this race. I hope they all stand up. I could see 5 or 6 horses with a chance jumping the second last, and I could still see 2 or 3 with a chance going to the last. And I think if Gordon's horse stood up, he'd have won the King George as the way it worked out, and he'd be even shorter than he is now. It's a great race. It's a race to really enjoy. Have a bet, but I don't think you'll see a better, or hopefully a better Gold Cup for a long, long time.
Yeah, no, it's an absolutely brilliant field. Leon, I mean, the market, I suppose, has been quite enough today. You said there's a bit of support for Don Cossack today. I think obviously when Ruby makes up his mind, that will obviously influence the Vautour Jack Adam situation as well. We've obviously Brian Cooper to make up his mind on Don Cossack or Don Poley, and Smart Place seems to be another one that just is quietly nipping away there. We don't know what would happen if Jack Adam had stayed up at Cheltenham last time, but he beat everybody that was there to be beaten.
Oh, he did, and as Ted said, he will stay because he won the Hennessy, and they went some clip at Newbury that day, and he ran all the way to the line, and that's the key to him, out in front and let him just bowl along and do his own thing. Look, it's a great race. I think we'll see plenty of money for it. It's so competitive. I mean, 7-2 the field. Even people out there, I know there's a few each way thieves in the audience. If they want 4-1 Don Cossack and you want to go each way, I'll give it to you, because I think a lot of people will be looking at this, and if you finish third, you could run the best race of your life and just get beat. That's how good of a Gold Cup it is. So it's great. I hope Gordon wins it, and I think if it's good ground, Brian Cooper will make his decision on Wednesday morning. Maybe Ruby will do the same thing, because they're going to be over there. They'll see exactly what the weather forecast is, blah blah blah, last bits of work. As a jockey, you want to be in those positions, though. You know what I mean? I mean, like, there's a jockey to the right hasn't got a ride in the race. So as a top jockey, you want to have a tough choice. Yeah, you might get it wrong, but so what? You're riding one of the short price horses in a Gold Cup.
Okay, can I just get a quick prediction off you then, because obviously we've had a lot of information. So
I'm going to stick with Don Cossack.
Okay, Don Cossack for you, Johnny.
I stick with Don Cossack as well. Yeah.
Gordon, you have to go with Don. Yeah. Okay, Liam. Would you get out? Ted?
Vatour unless I hear otherwise.
Vatour unless you hear otherwise. Okay, in other words, whatever Ruby picks. Okay, good stuff. Okay, that's the Gold Cup. So just